a life coach, a grandmother, and more. My story is pretty simple. I have been struggling for many years. I won't say a fight, because anything that you fight against persists. So I have not been fighting anything. What has happened to me can happen to anybody. Nobody is immune to any form of disease. And I have been struggling, like I said, with rheumatoid arthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis is a disease of the joints. But what happens is your immune system begins to attack its own body tissues. And when it first started about 30 odd years ago, I just thought it was just like rheumatism. I went out, woke up one morning, went with my husband for a morning jog, came back home, had breakfast, did the normal things that you do in the course of your day, went to bed, woke up in the morning, and I couldn't move. I literally could not move. The soles of my feet felt like an open wound. You know what an open wound feels like? Like when you have a sore and it's open? Well, that's how the soles underneath my foot, my feet felt like. I couldn't stand, I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything. And I was about only 25. So you can imagine, for a young woman of 25, having everything done for you. And interestingly enough, that is when your marriage vows came, for better or for worse. That's the time that whoever says they love you, how much do you really love you? When you can't bathe, when you can't dress, when you've got to be fed, excuse me, when you have even got to go to the bathroom. And it's a very humiliating experience for anybody. But when it's being done for you with love, you don't feel it. And my husband, unfortunately, divorced. But at the time, he was so loving and he took very good care of me. But I just could not wrap my own mind around it. Opening a jar was difficult. Combing my hair, a simple thing like combing your hair was difficult. Putting on makeup was difficult. And I thought that this would never end. And I used to ask God, what on earth have I done to deserve this? Now, the doctors don't really have a reason as to what happens or what causes rheumatoid arthritis. What they do know is that it can be passed on from parent to child, or through your environment, or through hormones. Now, I don't have anybody in my family who had rheumatoid arthritis. Nobody. Great stress? Yes. You'd be amazed at what stress can do to your body. Some people, their hair falls out. You might lose your teeth. And it ends with your whole body can just go out of whack. And you have absolutely no control over it. So let's fast forward a few years. I was a mom. I was, doing the normal things that, mothers do, because I started acting at the age of 17. I was on my way to university when I was sidetracked by an aunt of mine who was working at the Rama Broadcasting Corporation at the time. And she had this wonderful script, well, actually two scripts, Villa Kakarika and Avenue A. I'm some get a little bit too young to remember it. It was way back in the 70s, the early 70s, around 72. And it was a very, very popular TV series at the time, so I felt so in love with the script and the character that I was having to play. And so I immersed myself into that. Then I had my daughter, and I used to take my daughter to studios with me, and everybody wanted to carry her, but she wouldn't let anybody. And my mother happened to call me one day and said, it's either you leave what you're doing or you come home and have a shower. So I got home, and I could hear her crying in the background. And I got home, and there she was with a little suitcase that I always used to have with me whenever I'm going out with her. We didn't have diapers in those days. We had, towel nappies with safety pins. So I used to have a change of those in the little bag that I carried, plus powder, cream, toys, and the whole thing that, any sensible mother should have when you're doing that with your child, you're a bit long. So I got home, and there she was at the entrance. And it really broke my heart, and I asked myself, I couldn't push her through that. So it was either my career or my child. And I made the conscious decision that I was going to be there for my child. I was not going to allow any nanny to take care of her. I would be there to take her to and from school. And I did that for 12 years. And I had absolutely no regrets about that. I breastfed her for a year and a half. My breast was still there, thank God. And it was a wonderful experience. Then, I went to live in Europe for a bit. And then came back to Ghana in 1993 when my mother passed away. When I came back, there was this producer at GBC called Wallace Bombado, who had come out with The Ultimate Paradise. Now, mind you, I hadn't been acting for almost about 13 odd years because I left the country and I was singing in Europe. I'm a jazz singer too. And so I was doing that, and I had to abruptly come back to Ghana because my mother had died, and there was really nothing tying me down in Europe anymore because my contract had ended. I was no love affair. Oh dear. No love affair whatsoever. So I came back to Ghana, and that's when Wallace got in touch with me and told me about Ultimate Paradise, and he wanted me to play the role of Mrs. Brenda Addison. So I became Mrs. Brenda Addison to George Williams, Maysville, rest in peace. We just buried him yesterday. And it was a wonderful series that, took the whole of Maggie Presumptuous to Save Ghana by storm. And everybody loved it. They used to, run home every Friday night just to watch this program. I played the role of a very just bitchy or assertive. I say more assertive because in our society, women are supposed to be seen and not there like children. So I was sort of tough woman who was taking the nonsense from my husband's family and told them exactly where to go. The man wasn't even dead yet, and they were coming for his damn property. You know what I mean? He don't die finishing, he won't come for his property. What am I supposed to do? So I said, no way, Jose. Over my dead body. You want to come to console me and comfort me, but you want to come and take my property and then let me marry some old fox? Are you kidding me? Anyway, so it was a lovely, interesting program, and I really got into the character to the point where when people see me in traffic, they said, Mrs. Addison, you're a very bad woman. And I would look at her and I said, excuse me, my name is Rama Brew. So, but aren't you the woman who plays in Ultimate Paradise? I said, yes. So, aren't you Mrs. Addison? Yes. So that's your name? No. They're not able to connect the two, so I must be doing something right. In the course of that, I then began to develop serious symptoms of my rheumatoid arthritis coming back. I was on a lot of painkillers, and a lot of people wouldn't know because, hey, the show was going on, right? So you wouldn't know, whether I was aching or, feeling real bad on any particular day. But I would come on set and do what I have to do and go home and just, but it got to a point where
it got really, really, really bad. I could not. I mean, the cartilage in my joints were like rubbing each other. It was like bone to bone. And I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I don't have any enemies, by the way. But it was like bone to bone and excruciating pain. I used to go to bed with pain, wake up with pain. I couldn't sleep. But I still get up and show. I still put on my makeup. Because one thing my mother always told me, you wake up and you show up, no matter what. And so people would see me and they say, oh, but you don't look sick. And I said, do I have to look sick to be sick? That's what one doctor happened to tell me one day when I went for a visit. By the way, a lot of the doctors initially weren't able to diagnose exactly what was wrong with me and were not actually listening to what I was saying. And I told one doctor, I said, you know something? If I wasn't sick, you wouldn't be in business. Do you know that? Do you realize that if a lot of people were not sick, you have a job? So don't talk to me like I'm some kind of moron. You are giving me medication. I am paying you. It ain't free. And so I want to know exactly what is going into my body and what the reactions are going to be. Am I asking too much? He said, oh, well, then you're acting again. I said, excuse me? I'm not acting. I'm stating a fact. And you are surprised because a lot of your patients don't talk to you like this. Because they're afraid. They put you on a pedestal and you shouldn't be there. You are a doctor. There's one job and one job only that you are supposed to do. Make sure that people are well. And so if a patient is telling you about symptoms, you have got to listen to them. So since you don't want to listen to me, I think we have to part ways. So don't treat me like some fool, because I'm not. So that was the end of that. And I changed the series of doctors, and over the years, because I've now become more aware of my body and all the stuff that I eat, and be listening to the reaction of what my body goes through, pain-wise. I know that if I eat this is the reaction I'm going to get. If I have too many beers, well, I need my beer for tomorrow. And I do love my beers too. And yes, it really, really got bad. But what brought me to the breaking point was one day, about 3 years ago, 5 years ago actually, somebody called me to perform at an event of theirs. So I went to their office. We had a lovely meeting, they served me some tea, and we began to negotiate about how much they were going to pay me. Of course, we wanted to bring the price down. And I said, well, do you have this? Do you ask me to do it? Do they ask me to bring the price down? Why asking me? And you go to the supermarket, you tell me to bring the price down. So they said, oh, I'm the one and that's all. I said, well, the devil, don't ask me. This is my job. This is where my bread is buttered, thank you very much. So do not ask me to bring my price down. He said, oh, well, whatever you say. So we finished that, and then I walked out of his office, and I went and sat at the reception because I had to wait for my driver. Then I heard him say, so this disabled woman is coming to sing for us. Even when I say it now, I just have goosebumps all over my body. First and foremost, nobody is disabled. Nobody. You may be physically challenged. You may be mentally challenged. But as long as your brain is functioning, you can articulate, you are not in any shape or form disabled. In any way. And this man said this. And he had no idea I was still in that reception. And then the secretary said, this is very dumb, young way that we do this kind of thing. It's very annoying. I didn't say on the screen, I did she want to come in. And of course, I left all my lovely perfume in that little thing yet. So, I got my own back. So, a few months later, I called the following day, and I said, oh, I'm so sorry, I don't think I can attend your event because I think I might make a mistake and I clashed the date, so I don't think I'll be able to honor the event. He said, oh, he was so falsely false. Oh, I said, oh, what a shame. We look so forward to, and he goes, I'm like, so forward to this thing. So anyway, God was so good. A few months afterwards, I happened to bump into him, and there was a group of people. And then I think maybe he had a few to drink, I don't know. But, alcohol always makes you speak the truth, even when they want to. Anyway, so there he was at this event, and he says to me, oh, because, I'm so sorry you weren't able to come and perform at our event. I said, no, you're not. No, you won't. And I was looking at him, eyeball to eyeball. He said, oh, but Auntie Rama, why are you saying this? I said, why am I saying this? I said, let me tell you something. Now, I also had a beer or two. So my tongue was free. So I looked at him and I said, yes, as a matter of fact, I lied to you when I told you I'd cancel my event. I said, you were like, for somebody to boldly admit that they had lied. I said, yeah, I lied to you about having an event. You know why? He says, oh no, please tell me. I said, because when you're talking, sometimes you've got to be very careful. The door to your office wasn't closed. And you stupidly enough was telling your secretary that disabled woman is coming to sing. He was shocked. He couldn't say it. I said, don't even try and say you didn't say it. Because your whole face is showing what you said. And what reason would I have to lie anyway? I had no reason. I don't go around telling lies. I abhor lies. He was teeny one. He's driving me crazy. Oh, I'm coming. Where are you? Down the road. And he's still in Tama. What's with that? Just say I'm in Tama. I'm stuck in traffic. I thought I could make it, but I can't. But this compulsive lying that people like to do in this day and age, I don't get it. Because how can you blatantly lie about stupid stuff? So what about the big stuff? You lie. I know, I'm just down the road. Yeah, right. And then you are standing there seeing the person. Oh, really? You're down the road, huh? Oh, yes. You see, my car's had a problem and I can't fix it, so I really cannot make it now, and I'm just far away from you. Oh, really? So you go tap them on the shoulder. So this gentleman was flabbergasted that I'd caught him in his lie, and he was also apologetic and all that. And I said, first and foremost, I'm not disabled. I'm physically challenged, and you are the one who's disabled in your mind. Because you are not educated in any shape or form. Because if you were, such utterances would not come out from your mouth. Do you know what could happen to you tomorrow? Or even today as you step out your door? Or even get out of bed? Have you stopped to think about that? No, because you take everything for granted. You can walk from here to here and you just pay no attention to your feet or your hands or your ears or your eyes because everything is functioning. You just take it for granted. Because it's there, it's functioning. But let it be taken away from you, then you begin to value it. And you begin to realize that, wow, this body is a temple, and you are the only one responsible for it. And you don't take care of it, who's going to do it? I mean, your mother did it when you were a baby, but not now as a fully grown mosquito. She's going to do it again. Hell no. You know, and so we have to take care of our bodies. And it wasn't until I got to, I would say that, because I've come a long way. I've come from being on crutches, being in a wheelchair, and not being able to get into a 4x4 high car. Simple things that we take for granted becomes difficult when you don't have it anymore. And it's only by the grace of God and my own willpower, because I've had 2 knee replacements, 1 hip surgery, and in all of them I was wide awake. And I was talking to the surgeon, and before they wheeled me in, the nurses I was talking myself. And so the nurses asked me, what are you going to do with this makeup? I said, they're not operating on my face. I mean, hey, the doctor's seen enough blood already. I mean, they've got enough something I have to look at. You know, please give me a break. You're not operating on my face. You know? So I put on my full regalia, and I lay down there and I said, doctor, are you ready? So they gave me an epidural. So I was lolly dying, singing like a lark in there. But I was wide awake for all 3 operations. And the day after the operation, you have a physiotherapist who comes in immediately to get you to act with, people. And I tell you, you want to suck him so hard. Because pain or no pain, they're just trying to get you don't get any blood clots or anything like that. So within about a month, I was walking. And the doctor was shocked, because he said usually it takes about 6 weeks for you to start walking properly. And he said, you are very determined. I said, yes, because I cannot see myself walking in any other way. And that was when, after all these operations, that was when I began to have the different reactions from people. People that could be expecting to be more sympathetic, more understanding, more educated, they started asking stupid questions. You see, you lived and said, why are you walking like that? And I said, no, because it's my latest fashion statement. What do you know? I mean, you ask this stupid question, I'll give you a stupid answer back. You see somebody walking in a certain manner. Is there any need at all to ask? There's no need, is there? I mean, if I ask a blind person, why are you blind? I mean, the two do not connect. And that's when I began to realize the reactions of people. And I'm pleasantly surprised, because I was not expecting it. I was not expecting it, especially from my own peers and from some of my colleagues. And that's when I began to educate them and to make them understand that any